abakulu ministry bateeka kubanga banonyereza bakakase ekituufu ekiviirako abayizi okubanga beebulankanya mu kaseera k'ebigezo ate nga beewandiisa n'okwewandiisa. Omanyi kyanjawulo Moses Kajangu, waliwo ababeera mu ssomero ne bamaliriza nga tebatudde bigezo. Abo be bangi ennyo. Era olupapula lwa monitor lwatulaga nti buli mwaka emiliyoni namba y'abayizi ye dropping out abo either bavudde mu ssomero bagenza okukola ebirala, abamu bafumbiddwa bwe baba nga abaana ba buwala oba baba ba bulenzi bagenza emirimu egy'okukola.
Era n'okufanga tokujjemu.
Yes, n'ekyo nakyo kisoboka. Naye ate bano Honorable Minister beyogerako ng'afulumya ebigezo bya PLE baali abo abajja ne beewandiisa ne mu kuseera kw'okuweewandiisa naye ate ne bataalabikako ku lunaku olw'okukola ki olw'okutuula ebigezo. So ekyo it is one concern nayo gye tulinza okulaba ku mulundi guno ku bifulumidde mu bigezo bya 2024 ekyo kibadde kitya then tugeraageranye ne bwe kyali mu 2023 awo tuleke tukakase nti oba waliwo improvement oba waliwo obaoliawo omulimu omunene ogukyetaaga okukolebwa mu nteekateeka eyennyini.
Apollo, if I can take you back briefly, results twakafulumya eza P7 okutwaliza mu performance yali nungi especially in the rural areas, especially amasomero gali mu urban oba amasomero ag'omu bibuga go okutwaliza mu gakoze bulungi Mukono, Wakiso, Kampala, Mbarara, Fort Portal, those big cities abana bakola ko bulungi. Especially in urban areas Apple abana bakola bubi, especially waliwo amasomero gemaye Apple especially in the rural areas abana okutwaliza wamu it was not easy for them to perform well, especially results ezikwatiddwa era no comparing abiziki results ezikomezebwawo ezafulumye mu 2024. Apple olowooza kino new curriculum eno eriko kizibu ki? Waliwo bagireeta nga tibeetegese bulungi oba bagireeta nga abagenda gisomesa especially the teachers tibategeera bulungi ki bagenda kusomesa? Lwaki abaana especially mu rural areas bakola bubi okulaba nti bafuna very poor grades?
Tulaba nawe atuuliriza ne Moses Kajangu, njagala okukkiriziganya naawe nti curriculum empya ng'eno gye twogeddeko eya gye bayise competency-based tuteekwa kufuna okusoomozebwa wano ne wali mu nteekateeka oba mu kugimplementinga mu mbeera yonna. Ndowooza bannayuganda tuteekwa kubeera abagumiikiriza nti ekintu ekipya oba enkyukakyuka ejja n'okusoomozebwa okwayo okw'enjawulo. Curriculum eno empya okugimplementinga nga bwe nkutegeezezza wali mu ntandikwa yali yeetaaga okubanga abasomesa bali mu system bateekwa okubanga batrainingibwa mu ngeri ey'enjawulo okusobola okukola ki okugimplementinga. So osuubidde nti oba oliawo eyo process ey'okusomesa abasomesa okutendeka abasomesa basobole okuimplementinga curriculum empya kiteekwa okuleetawo kiteekwa okutwala akaseera era kyetaaga na resources, kyetaaga ensimbi ez'okuba traininga ate nga bwe guli omwaka ogusooka definitely kiteekwa kubanga kiina effect ku performance, kiteekwa kubanga kiina effect ku delivery. Then ekyokubiri curriculum empya nayo ejjanga erina ebirala byeyeetaaga ebikozesebwa. Ekyokulabirako olwaleero n'abayizi aba lower primary njogera ku P3 kutandikira ku P3 P4 olwaleero baba introducinga ku subject ya ICT. Bagiyita computer abamu kati bagiraba nga computer. Nina omuyizi mu P3 naye asoma computer olwaleero. So katoteekwa kwebuuza Moses Kajangu nti mu masomero ng'ag'ebyalo gy'ogambye nti tebakoze bulungi bameka abalina computers amasomero ago computer labs masomero ameka agayina computer labs eyo mu byalo. Then ekyokubiri olina okutunulira ne ku nsonga y'amasanyalaze nti computers zikozesa amasanyalaze. Amasanyalaze tukimanyi nti mu bitundu eby'ebyalo ebisinga tegaliyo. Kati abo bateekwa kubanga bayimprovisinga abasobola okuimprovisinga ne bateekayo kasola pano ne basobola okubanga bapoweringa computer abayizi basobola okukola ki. Naye weebuuze nti amasomero ge twasomeramu ngaffe ageeri eri wala eyo actually si wala neno tubiraba amasomero agali wano mu Central nga Lwengo twalabayo essomero eritalina na bisenge nga waggulu subi kati awo weebuuza nti abayizi abo bo balina mukisa ki ogusoma kompyuta oba ICT oba kitegera kyeŋŋamba nti ebintu ng'ebyo bye bimu ebisoomooza oba implementation eya curriculum eno empya nga bw'ogambye ku PLE mu PLE results ezafulumye n'ogenda okusanga oba oli amasomero agamu tegakoze bulungi okusingira ddala agava mu bitundu eby'ebyalo so oteekwa kubanga okisuubira kyova olangambye nti bannayuganda tubeere bagumiikiriza tuleme kwanguwa ate okunenya oba okucriticizinga tugambe nti lwaki kino kiri bwe kiti na bwe kiti entandikwa yonna eteekwa kubanga erimu oteekwa kufuna okusoomozebwa okwenjawulo obanga otandika ekintu ekipya ndowooza tuteekwa kiwaamu obudde tukiweemu weewaawo nze nga nze ndowooza emyaka ng'etaano amasomero agatanaba kufuna infrastructure gafuna structure ekyokulabirako ng'ebibiina classroom blocks osobola kukwata computers zemufunye ku bbeeyi ez'ebbeeyi n'oziteeka mu ruumu oba mu kazimbe nga kali makeshift nga si kizimbe block ezimbiddwa obulungi computer labs zirina amateeka computer lab mu kusoma computer bakusomesa nti computer lab eteeka okuba nga erina specifications ezigifuula computer lab nti eteeka okuba nga eri air conditioned teko kubanga temuli bugu mulingi kubadi baligenda kwonoona computers oba otegeera kyeŋŋamba nti ebyokukola bikyali bingi oba oliawo kyekireetera n'ebyo byoyogeddeko nti ne mu performance tuteekwa kubanga tujja kukirabanga kireflectinga ne mu performance olw'okuba nti emirimu ebyetaagisa okukola bikyali bingi.
Thank you Apollo. Njagala kuzaako mabega kuba mu maaso nga tulinda ebibuuzo okubifulumya ku State House na Kasero by First Lady. Apollo, kati the framers of this curriculum I think oba tebatunulira nnyo mu maaso kati Apollo gwe njagala kubuuza nga bunamawulire professional journalist kati abaana bano abagenda kufuluma olwaleero bagenda kusoma curriculum ki? Kubanga A-level, it is going to remain the way how it is. Chichi curriculum for lower institutions of learning, P7, up to senior 4, kati buli omu ayeebuuza mu A-level bino bye bagenda kwongera kusoma oba bagenda kusoma ebirala. Ate abamu beebuuza curriculum eno lwaki yakola ku senior 4 ne P7, what about A-level?
Yes.
Nakulabako last time na ku program ya Limelight omukyala Dr. Goret einangiri gye ekintu nakye yakijjayo bulungi in terms of this curriculum.
Teyakijjayo bulungi Dr. Goret Nakabugo olw'okubeera nti ekituufu kiri nti abali mu nteekateeka eno eya transition nabo nga bwe nkugambye nti balina okusoomozebwa kubasinkana era kyekimu ku ebyo ndowooza ebikyaliwo ng'omuziziko nti eno wansi enteekateeka etambudde bulungi nnyinza okugamba bwentyo nti kubanga abayingira sisitimu eno curriculum empya mu 2020 tubalaba kati wano ku S4 bamaliriza. Wabaddewo ebibuuzo bingi nga boyogedde nga abamu beebuuza nti kati we balaga mu senior 5 ne senior 6 yo nga tebanaba kuteekateeka tewanaakubeerayo kweteekateeka okulaba nga bareceiving abayizi bano bateekateeke curriculum eyaabwe n'abasomesa biki byonna ebyo byetaagisa. Ensonga eno ndowooza yatuuseko ne mu palamenti ery'akakiiko k'ebyenjigiriza n'ababaka ne bagikubaganyako ebirowoozo nga bagamba nti wabaddewo okutambula akasoobo mu kuimplementinga new curriculum ku level eya waggulu. Nze kyendowooza nti ministry ebyenjigiriza oba oliawo ne minisita Honorable Mama Janet Katamuseveni oba oliawo mu speech ye ajja kubanga akikoonako simanyi nensaba oba nandisuubidde nti ajja kubanga akikoonako batuwe update waabwe batuuse mu nteekateeka eno ey'okuteekateeka abayizi bano abamaliriza ebigezo bino bino bifulumye we bagenda n'engeri gye bagenda okubanga bareceivingibwa okutandika kuba bayise mu curriculum empya naye ate gye balaga kyatulaze nti babadde tebanakweteekateeka obulungi nga bwe nkugambye nti waliwo obwetaavu obw'okutraininga abasomesa wabawo obwetaavu obw'okuteekateeka ebisomesebwa waliwo okuteekateeka facilities n'ebigenda okubayambako mu kusoma so nze nsuubidde nti ekibuuzo kino minisita w'ebyenjigiriza Mama Janet Kata Museveni n'abamuyambako be bagenda okukyanukula babanga betegese okukyanukula ate babanga tebakoze ekyo era tujja kusigala nga tubuuza ebibuuzo oba tulindire n'okulaba butya bwe kinaatambula naye ebadde nnyo nsonga nkulu mu nteekateeka eyo nga eri concern nnyo eri okuba nti wabaddewo delays mu kukwasaganya enteekateeka eyo naye tujjukire nti mu byetaagisa jjukira nti curriculum eno yajja nga ereese ebintu ebipya mu subjects zennyini mulimu ebipya ebyayongerwamu mu delivery nga bwe nkutegeeza mulimu ebipya ebyayongerwamu kati entrepreneurship nayo erina demand zaayo nayo yemu ku ezo subjects ezaali eziteekeddwako omulaka ku mulundi guno so ndowooza abayizi kati jjukira bwe bagenda mu S5 bwe bava wano ne bayingira mu S5 wabaddewo ebikoleddwawo mpolampola n'endowooza tulinde minisita ne ttiimu ye bajja kubanga obaoliawo ekibuuzo kye bakyanukula
okay apolo ekyo infact okizemu obulungi era tujja kulaba kiki minisita wa education era tumulindirire essaawa yonna ajja kuba agenda kwogera eri eggwanga era ne executive secretary UNEB Dom naye ajja kuba atuwa performance y'abaana aba senior 4 ngeri gye baperforminzeemu apolo oba recently twali tusomako babiri education review commission gye bateekako okunoonyereza ebyenjigiriza mu Uganda yonna era akakiiko kano kali kakulirwa former minister of education Nwamanya Mushega Major retired era waliwo recommendations nyingi recommendations ezibakolera minister of education okulaba nga biki education ya Uganda oba ebyenjigiriza bya Uganda bitambula bitya era ekimu ku ekyo Apollo ky'okujjako ebibuuzo bya P7 ate Apollo ngere bwe tubadde twogera wano mu opening remarks zaffe tugambye that new curriculum bagire tenamala na mwaka era kati tolabanga recommendation ezijja zino nti UPA eveeko okutuula ebibuuzo bya ebibuuzo bya primary living examination biveeko era tugenda kulaba oba ne UC nayo ejja kubanga evuddeko what is the way forward Apollo one tulagawa kulabanga curriculum bagitadde mu ssente nyingi era kati bano review commission is recommending nti eveeko
nze ndowooza ekyo si kizibu era nze ndowooza nti eyo nkola nungi ey'okubeera nga buli kaseera wabaawo review wabaawo okuddamu okutunula mu nkola y'ebintu then abakugu ne batuwa direction ne bakola recommendations then ne babaako bye batuwa ebipya mu ngeri ey'okwongera okutereeza already mu new curriculum twabadde tutandise kye bayita continuous assessment nti omuyizi tebakyalindirira kulaba ku kigezo kino ekisembayo eky'ennaku ebbiri kuba PRO ye ya nnaku bbiri zokka oba kyekisalawo oba yeeyongereyo oba asigalire oba addemu kutuula ebigezo kuba yebadde enkola nti omuyizi asoma myaka 7 okuva ku P1 paka P7 then ne bamugezesa mu nnaku bbiri zokka eza PROE then ennaku ezebbiri ne zisalawo future ye oba yeeyongerayo mu secondary oba agenda mu vocational oba agenda awalala oba dropping out akola ebirala so enkola eno curriculum empya yali nti omuyizi batandika okumwasesinga nga okuva eno gy'ava wansi babeere nga waliwo 20% eya tests ze bakola periodically either every month wabeerewo tests ezo taking 20% eyo mark egende mu UNEB then wali ku end of the year bafune 80% then baggregating bamuwe marks okutwaliza wamu kati ekyo ye yali enkola empya eya curriculum eno empya nti ebibuuzo nga bino betugenda okwogerako ebya S4 bireme kubanga byebisalawo omuyizi emyaka ena gy'amaze mu secondary education cycle. Wabeerewo n'okugezesebwa okwa buli kaseera nga marks ezo zigendayo, kiyambe okukola kinti omuyizi wabanga alemereddwa n'okutuula ebigezo babeere nga balina record eya assessment nti abadde nga akola bwati, abo basobola okusinzirawo ne bagamba nti yeyongereyo wadde tatudde bigezo olw'ensonga bweti neeti oba ebigezo byagenza okujja nga mulwadde, basobole okugamba nti kale tumuleke yeyongereyo kuba already tubadde tulabanga mu tests zino ezibadde zimuweebwa wakati mu kusoma abadde azikola bulungi. So that was good. Naye ate akakiiko kano akatunuulira ebyenjigiriza bwekaba nga kavuddeyo ne recommendation ng'eyo gyoyogeddeko ey'okugyawo piiro ey'okugigirako ddala. I think kateeko kubanga kalina recommendations ezaako nti piiro bwevaawo ate tusaawo ki oba okitegeera kye ŋŋamba. Mbadde sinaba kukebera mu recommendations ki kye bagamba ku ekyo, naye mu recommendations ezo kwe tusinziira okugamba nti kale bw'abanga piiro evuddewo kino ekijja kyo kiri kitya era kikola kitya okugezaako okukola ki okujjuza okuba okureplacinga kiri ekibaddewo ebbanga. So ndowooza embeera yeeyo nga bwe tulaba tujja kuba tugenda butereeve nakasero. Kirabika okubanga omukolo guno gutandise. Oweekitiibwa minisita kwagenda okusinziira okufulumya ebigezo ebyava mu bigezo bya siniya ey'okuna. Moses Kajangu amanyi agangeze principal ndowooza tugende butereevu. Era tugende butereevu ena kasero okuliira kiki bagenda kutufulumiza olwaleero.
Joyce Moriko Kaduchu, Minister of State for Primary Education. You're most welcome. Honorable Peter Ogwang, Minister of State for Sports. Mama, we have the chairperson of the Committee on Education and Sports, Honorable Kubeketeria James. We have Honorable Nathan Itungo. And I'm also reliably informed to have Honorable Okorimoe Jena Ketch. Mama, we have the entire technical team of the Ministry of Education and Sports, including the allied agencies, led by Dr. Kedres Riagenda. In our midst, we also have the chairperson of the Education Service Commission, Professor Sam Luboga, the Secretary Education Service Commission, Dr. Asman Lukwago. We have the team No Sleep, the UNEB team, led by the chairperson, Professor Celestino Bua. We have the Fourth Estate, the media. You may stand up. Some of them already standing up. We value your presence. We're expecting members of the security forces. I don't know whether they are around. Maybe when they come, they will be introduced by the executive director. We are joined online by all the Ugandans who are very eager to witness the release of the UCE exams. Mama, with your permission, may I take the singular honor of inviting the chairperson of UNEB to give his opening remarks. The chairperson is Professor Celestino Bua, a physician, pharmacologist, academic administrator, and former Vice Chancellor of Mbara University.
First Lady and Honorable Minister of Education and Sports, the Honorable Ministers of State for Education, the Chairperson and members of the Parliamentary Committee on Education and Sports, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Sports, members of Uganda National Examinations Board present, the Executive Director, Uganda National Examinations Board, senior members of staff of the Ministry of Education and that of UNEB, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Mama, out of script, let me write on the prayers that were offered this morning and also wish you a happy day today. Now I'm delighted to be presenting to you the results of 2 sets of UC examinations, the transitional examination and the first examination conducted under the new competency-based curriculum. Now, the year 2024 was therefore a very busy year. The transitional examination was based on the now defunct UCE curriculum and did not present any unique problems, apart from competing for time. However, the competence-based curriculum has been a completely new experience, and the board was treading on new ground with each step taken. We had to contend with skepticism from some sections of the public, wondering whether UNEB would deliver the results. Mama, this is understandable, since as a country we are for the first time all going through this fundamental paradigm shift in our education system. Any new change, no matter how positive, will always have its doubters, skeptics, pessimists, and even conspiracy theorists. And we had them as we went along in development of the instruments and tools that eventually has culminated in the administration of the examination and the release of the result that you're about to do. Mama, as a result of our experience gained through interaction with teachers, the learners, and some parents, we can say with complete confidence that this is a good curriculum. The products of the curriculum have more confidence, can communicate better, have developed the skills to do research and projects in various areas, and have learned how to learn. Just like the public had wondered how these learners would transit to the next level, we as a board had also silently agonized about the fate of the learners who would transition to the UACE, to a curriculum that was still routed in the same old format that the learners had no longer interacted with. The board is glad, Mama, that you gave the necessary guidance to the National Curriculum Development Center, and substantial changes have been made to the UACE curriculum, with which these learners will now interact when they transition to that level in a few weeks from now. Mama, the reporting of the achievement levels has been changed from the Steinheim system of 1 to 9, in other words, distinctions, credits, pass, and fail, which was used in the previous content-based curriculum, to the letter grades of A, B, C, D, and E. The details of this will be given by the Executive Director in the statement of release of the results. The transcripts, which used to be called result slips, and the certificates will also change in content presentation. Mama, in arriving at the decision to adopt the letter grades format, the board considered several options with various amounts of content. The board's decision was guided by the following considerations. 1, the report or transcript or certificate issued must be simple, and I emphasize simple, for all stakeholders to easily understand. 2, the descriptors, that is, explanations of the meaning of the grades, should be positive on what the holder of the certificate can do. 3, that the document has to indicate that the final grade for each subject is derived from the continuous assessment and the end of cycle scores. 4, that it must be possible to use the results for other purposes, such as for selection or placement. And finally, that it must be cost effective to produce the transcripts and the certificates. The board is very grateful to the technical teams from the NCDC and UNEB who worked hard to actualize the board's guidance. We are also grateful to all other professionals from the Directorate of Education Standards who, together with other selected teachers, worked tirelessly with UNEB to develop the tools and guidelines for training and participated in the training across the country. Their work was of great help to the teachers in implementing the curriculum. The ICT team at UNEB deserves special mention. Mama, all the programs needed for the management of data, from receiving the continuous assessment scores to the final processing of results, were developed in-house. I would like us to thank for our ICT team. Mama, while all the many assessment activities were taking place, UNEB was also, over the last 2 years, undergoing a lot of changes in its processes, procedures, and quality management systems. In this, UNEB was committing itself to providing globally competitive quality products and services for educational assessment and certification. UNEB's systems, processes, and procedures were subjected to rigorous quality audits against the International Organization for Standards, or ISO 9001:2015. Mama, I'm glad now to report that UNEB has been awarded the ISO 9001:2015 certificate. Mama, this confirms that UNEB quality systems, processes, and procedures are at international standards. And this is a prestigious award which guarantees UNEB global recognition. The board is immensely proud of this. And Mama, I congratulate you for your guidance. I congratulate Executive Director, the management and staff of UNEB on this achievement. It was indeed hard work. I congratulate the candidates who qualified for the UCE certificate under both the transitional and the competency-based examinations. I thank the teachers who guided them and the scorers who marked the scripts. The board is very grateful to all institutions that hosted the marking or scoring exercise. Mama, you have a special place in our hearts. because you greatly appreciate the efforts the board makes in supporting the mandate of the Ministry of Education and Sports. Mama, I now invite the Executive Director to present the release statements of the two sets of the 2024 UCE examinations. I thank you for listening to me.
Mama, permit me to ride on the protocol already established by my boss, the chair, and not repeat the salutations. I don't know what he prefers to call himself, Master of Ceremonies or Director of Programs. He said we have twins. Indeed, we have twins, and I'll start with Opio. And Mama, what actually makes the twins is a second born, is a chain, so I'll end with a chain that confirms that these are twins. So I'll start with the transition examination statement, which is a bit shorter than the other one. Honorable Minister of Education and Sports, Uganda National Examinations Board presents to you the results of the 2024 Uganda Certificate of Education Transition Examination. The examination was conducted based on the now defunct UCE curriculum for those that had missed the last 2023 examination, or those who had wanted to repeat in order to improve their grades. Mama, we are grateful that you allowed that the board conducts this examination. The registration for these exams, the total candidature, Mama, was 10,141 candidates registered from 1,028 centers. Of these, 43.1% were males and 52.9% were females. 813 or 8% were beneficiaries of the USE program, and the other 88.0 were non-USE. And of the total number registered, 96.1% sat for the examination, and out of those, 4,369 were males and 5,373 were females. 399 did not again avail themselves this opportunity that, Mama, you had allowed. Registration for the special needs candidates, under this examination, Mama, we also had some SNE candidates. There were 44, 20 males and 24 females, and they were blind, low vision, deaf, dyslexics, physically handicapped, and then there were 15 others that had other forms of disability. All the 44 except one candidate were present for the examination. Section 3, Mama, the general performance of the candidates under this examination, we show it in Table 1. In terms of divisions, the number of candidates in those different divisions, the cumulative numbers, and also the cumulative percentage. It shows that in Division 1, out of the 9,000 plus who sat, 80 or 0.8% were able to pass in Division 1. 5.2% of 503 candidates passed in Division 2, and the others, as you see, And the percentage of those that did not make it or who got grade 9 is a little high at 16.7%. We also compared the performance of the males and the females, as we have done in previous statements, in Table 2, expressed in terms of cumulative percentages at the indicated levels. It's a table with a lot of figures, but Mama, you can be seen at grade 2 or distinction level, we are separating or disaggregating male and female performance, and then we are also listing the subjects. So one can run down the columns and see the percentage of males and females at the different subjects that are passing with at least a distinction, and then credit, and finally at minimum of grade 8. In Table 3, Mama, we've also compared the percentage of divisional passes, showing that in Division 1, the males and female candidates who sat were the same, that is 0.8% in both. Division 2, the males were a little higher at 5.8 compared to 4.7 for the females. Similarly, at Division 3, the males were also slightly higher at 18.0% compared to 17.1. However, at Division 9, the percentages are more or less the same. We also compared or presented the performance of special needs candidates in Table number 4, showing the number of candidates in the different divisions, Division 1, 2, 3, and then the type of special needs, the blind, the low vision, and so on. And we can see that a lot of our candidates, these ones who sat, are in Division 3 and Division 4. There were a few cases of malpractice. About 200 of these learners were found to have involved themselves in external assistance, and their results will be held until we talk to them. Mama, collection of results. These results will be uploaded on the examination center portals, and the heads of examination centers can download their results as soon as you officially release them. We are not providing any hard copies right now, but maybe later on those that are interested will be notified when they are ready for collection. Parents, candidates, and other interested parties wishing to access the results may use the short messaging service, SMS, on MTN and Airtel, as we have always guided. Mama, submission of queries. We again urge the heads of examination centers to study the result lists and submit the queries that they may have on name spellings and other things like that to the board via their portals within 15 working days from today's date. This enables us to work on these queries in good time and be able to prepare the result slips and finally print the certificates. Mama, this is the brief from the first twin appeal, and I thank you for your kind attention to this report. Allow me, Mama, now to turn to the statement on the competency-based curriculum. Honorable Minister of Education and Sports, the Uganda National Examinations Board presents to you the results of the 2024 Uganda Certificate of Education Examination, which was conducted successfully under the theme Embracing Security and Holistic Assessment of Learners in a Dynamic Environment. The theme enjoined all concerned to accept the essence of security at all stages of the examination process. It emphasizes the assessment of the whole person, the cognitive, the affective, and the psychomotor domains. And Mama, this curriculum speaks to this assessment of the whole person. Assessment is taking place in a rapidly changing environment driven by rapid developments in technology. As we do assessment, Mama, we must be alive to these realities. These are the results of the first cohort of candidates under the competency-based curriculum that we are presenting to you. And Mama, we are excited that we have finally come to this point. Mama, in 2020, you rolled out the competency-based curriculum for the lower secondary school level. This presented a requirement for assessment reforms that introduced new components of continuous assessment, or CA, and project work on top of the various activities on top of the existing end-of-cycle examination. The board then embarked on various activities in preparation to assess the first cohort of learners, following a roadmap that had been developed. The board had to build capacity for its staff, given that the assessment of the curriculum would fundamentally shift from what was then in practice. The board then embarked on the development of formats for students' identification to facilitate registration of Senior 3 and Senior 4 learners, and tracking their continuous assessment scores in all the schools, not just the ones with UNEB examination centers. Therefore, Mama, a unique format of numbers to identify the learners in schools without UNEB centers was also developed. This was then followed by development of assessment tools, guidelines, training materials, capacity building for teachers as item writers and scorers, benchmarking to pick best practices, and sensitization of key education stakeholders. Mama, the board was able to put in place all the necessary assessment tools, including an in-house software codenamed Assessment Management Information System, or AMIS. We trained a total of 63,041 teachers, of whom 43,741 were male and 19,300 were female. These were teachers of Senior 3 and Senior 4, and we did this throughout the country, and the assessment was, the training was on the assessment of continuous assessment, with emphasis on the use of digital assessment tools that we had developed and circulated. The training also included assessment of the project work, which, Mama, is a mandatory component of the curriculum assessment. We retooled 5,200 of the targeted 800 existing examiners to equip them with the new skills of scoring under the competency-based assessment. We successfully administered the examination that has culminated into the results that you are due to release. However, Mama, there is urgent need for us to do some mop-up training in some of the areas where training had not been properly concluded, and also to target the teachers of Senior 1 and Senior 2. As I said, Mama, the training that was done targeted Senior 3 and 4, those two being the most urgent classes. Important to note, Mama, is that the new assessment comes with a change in reporting and certification, as the board chair has said. The board, in close consultations with the National Curriculum Development Center, has come up with a reporting mechanism that presents the learners' levels of achievement in each subject with a letter grade A, B, C, D, or E. The levels of achievement were arrived at through a systematic and technical processes that combine the learner's score based on continuous assessment done at school and the end of cycle examination score, and the combination is in a proportion of 20% continuous assessment done at school and 80% the end of cycle examination respectively. Additionally, Mama, the project work is assessed at school and the achievement level is presented as a standalone on the certificate. The achievement level on the project reveals the learner's creative competency in dealing with actual contemporary world problems. The meanings of these letter grades are explained a little later in this statement, Mama. Mama, during the implementation, we encountered some challenges such as the lack of efficient ICT infrastructure in many schools, which was a major constraint in the ability of these schools to make timely submissions of the continuous assessment scores to UNEB. The volume of data that UNEB must receive and store is also now requiring larger capacity servers at UNEB. There is the challenge of shortage of school laboratory facilities. The new curriculum, being skill-based, requires that science labs and workshops are well equipped to give the learners enough chance to create new knowledge through self-learning. Unfortunately, many rural and private schools lack these, and some are also short of science teachers. Mama, along the way, we also discovered that some schools appeared to be resisting the change to the new curriculum. They were stuck in teaching the old curriculum in the hope that government would retract the new curriculum given the challenges that were evident at the start of the new curriculum implementation. They were surprised when the board released sample examination papers. These challenges could have impacted on the candidates' achievements, especially in the sciences. Despite these challenges, the new competency-based curriculum assessment, Mama, has been successful. Mama, during the marking, the board also suffered pressure from scorers' strikes for increased pay, as I had occasion to brief you about earlier. Your guidance on the course of action was well taken, and management is taking appropriate action. Nonetheless, the other non-striking groups in their end of scoring reports have overwhelmingly recommended that UNEB should train more scorers due to the more complex nature of the scoring of this examination, and also should consider raising their fees across the subjects. I believe these issues will be addressed with the availability of extra financial resources, which we have requested for. Mama, in section 2 now, I report on the registration of the candidates. The total candidature is 359,417 candidates who have registered for this first cohort of the examination. May I explain here, Mama, that previously our total registration would be based on the candidates that had moved on from senior 3 and those who were repeating. This particular time, these are candidates that came straight from senior 3 because, as we know, there are still no repeaters. So the number may look a little lower than that of last year. But when you add the 10,141 to these, then the number of candidates we registered for UCE would be higher than that of 2023. Of these, 177,133, or 49.3%, were males, while 182,284, or 50.7%, were females. 38.1 were beneficiaries of the USE program, and 61.9% were non-UPE. Mama, a total of 357,120, or 99.4%, were present for this examination, and only 2,297, or 0.6%, were absent. Mama, we observe that this is the lowest rate of absenteeism ever, and this is a very good sign that more and more of our children who come to this class stay on until they take the examination. We are grateful for this. Mama, I also report on registration of special groups. The special needs candidates were 743. Out of those, we have 354 males, 389 females. They consisted of those categories of special needs or disabilities, and the numbers as I have indicated. They sat the examination, and only 5 were absent. That is 0.7% of the candidates. The board made adequate arrangements for these candidates, as we have always done, the modification of question papers, provision of braille, sign language interpreters, and so on and so forth. They were also allowed, as we have always done, Mama, 45 minutes extra in each paper. Mama, we also have from our 2 schools in the prisons, the board registered 28 candidates from the Uganda government upper prison here in Luzira. Of those, 27 were males, and we have 1 female. From Mbarara main prison, there were 11 who sat, and all of them were male. Mama, we note that at primary we also had from Mbarara, all of them were male. The little rather unscientific research I did is that the females who live around the catchment area of Mbarara prison do not commit any crimes, and they are not in prison. Section 3, Mama, we report now on the general candidates' performance in this examination. As mentioned above, the format of reporting performance under the competency-based curriculum differs significantly from the old curriculum. Performance is reported by achievement levels indicated by letter grades A, B, C, D, and E. And Mama, I'm showing in the table the achievement levels and the descriptors, trying to explain to us what each level means. The achievement level for each subject is arrived at from the scores generated from the assessment of competencies at the school level, that is through the continuous assessment, and the scores from the competencies that are assessed in the final end of cycle. And as I said earlier on, they are in the ratio of 20% continuous assessment and 80% from the end of cycle examination. So Mama, table 1 is indicating the achievement levels. The grade A, the achievement level is described as exceptional. And a candidate who has this grade A and is an exceptional candidate or learner is that person who demonstrates an extraordinary level of competency by applying innovatively and creatively the acquired knowledge and skills in real-life situations. The one that is at grade B, the achievement level is described as outstanding. And that candidate demonstrates a high level of competency by applying the acquired knowledge and skills in real-life situations. Mama, the common denominator in all these is application of knowledge and skills in real-life situations. That's why that phrase is repeated at all assessment levels. C is described as satisfactory, and that candidate demonstrates an adequate level of competency by applying the acquired knowledge and skills in real-life situations. Then D is described as basic. That is, this candidate demonstrates a minimum level of competency in applying the acquired knowledge and skills in real-life situations. Then finally, E, Mama, is described as elementary. This person demonstrates below the basic level of competency in applying the acquired knowledge and skills. Mama, given the complete departure from the old grading system of reporting in divisions like 1, 2, 3, we cannot compare the performance between the candidates of 2023 and 2024. Under the competency-based assessment, Mama, there is no ranking of candidates in divisions as in the previous curriculum. A candidate will qualify for the Uganda Certificate of Education, certificate if he obtains a competency level grade of D in at least one subject. Mama, the minimum number of subjects that a candidate sits here is 8, and the maximum number is 9. So if a candidate obtains the basic level at D in any of the 8 or 9 subjects that the candidate has taken, that candidate is deemed to have qualified for the Uganda Certificate of Education Award. So with this in mind, the overall results show that 350,146 or 98.5% of the candidates who sat qualified for the UCE certificate. And this will be indicated on their results, transcripts and certificates as result 1. The E, if I may go back to that table, Mama, I did not mention E because the minimum score is D in order to qualify. Now the E, we are saying this person is below the basic level for this certificate. The candidate is not entirely empty of knowledge or skills. They have something, but what they have is not adequate for them to be awarded the certificate. Under this competency-based curriculum, Mama, nobody fails completely. Nobody gets a 0 score. No, everybody has learned something. But when it comes to award of a certificate, then we consider that level of D and above. So all these candidates who have qualified will have result 1 indicated on their transcript and certificates. The candidates who did not fulfill the awards or for the certificate will have result 2. Now the ones that have not fulfilled the conditions are those who may not have sat for all the 8 subjects, the minimum. They registered, but for some reason they didn't turn up for one of the subjects, so they have only 7. So they have not fulfilled the minimum requirements to get that certificate. Or it may be a candidate who has not registered for the compulsory subjects. There are subjects that have been indicated in the curriculum as being compulsory. For example, mathematics, English language, and some of the humanities. So when a candidate does not sit, although they registered for these, they will also have not fulfilled the conditions for the award, and they will result 2 will be indicated in their transcript. Now, those also will include those who do not have project work submitted. Now, result 3 will be indicated on the transcript of a candidate who has not met the minimum level in all the subjects. For example, Mama, if a candidate scores grade E that is the elementary grade in all the 8 or 9 subjects that they have sat, they also do not qualify for the award of this certificate, and they will have result 3 indicated. Now there will be candidates who have registered and have not appeared. Those have not indicated here, but the board will still print a transcript in order to account for them, but they will have result 4, meaning that they were not present for the examination. Now these are the explanation. Compulsory and large entry subjects, English, Christian religious education, and so on up to art and design. And I'm indicating the percentages of candidates that were exceptional or got A in those subjects. As you can see, English language, 2.7% of the candidates were graded exceptional, and 1.6% in Christian religious education, 6.4% in history and political education, and so on up to art and design, where you have a high 13.0%. Now at B, these are now cumulative, A and B together, and also C, and then the final column is E. Exceptional levels of achievements are noted especially in art and design, where the percentage is quite high and nobody has scored an E. Everybody who did art scored at least a D and above. Then we also have history and political education, agriculture, and mathematics. These were fairly high, as we can see from the table. Proportions of candidates achieving the elementary or below basic level are most significant in physics, followed by chemistry, and then English language. When you look at the column under E, you will see that physics, we have 12.8% of the candidates who are elementary, that is, they are below the basic level of D. And also we have chemistry, which is 6.1, biology 2.3, mathematics 2.8, English language 3.6. However, it is satisfying to note that a very high percentage, Mama, as I have already indicated, have at least got the basic level in this examination. Mama, the reports from our scorers, or examiners, as we've called them before, indicate that in the science practical assessments, candidates were expected to use a given scenario and materials that had been provided to develop aims and hypotheses, plan and carry out investigations and draw conclusions. The main problems that they observed is the failure of candidates to interpret the scenarios given or to connect the scenarios and the materials supplied to them in real-life situations, or to interpret the results of the experiments that they had carried out and create meaning connected to everyday situations. Mama, the emphasis in this curriculum is application of knowledge and skills to problem solve or to solve problems in our everyday life. Candidates that appear not to have been guided properly try to use the old method of recalling facts to respond to these scenarios. In English and other foreign languages, the challenges that were observed have been inadequate vocabulary, inability to paraphrase or using your own words without having to copy directly from a given text when you are writing a summary, or using inappropriate examples in the comprehension texts or literature analysis. The reports, however, indicate that in those languages where speaking was part of the assessment, candidates demonstrated a fair understanding of the given scenarios and responded well. The challenge that cuts across all areas is the difficulty that candidates showed in linking scenarios to problem solving in real life situations. This competency, as I have said, is at the core of the curriculum and implies that teachers need to do much more to guide the learners towards this focus. Mama, in section 4, I report the achievement levels of male and female candidates. The table below compares achievement levels of the male and female candidates in the large and compulsory subjects in terms of cumulative percentages at the indicated levels. You can see I've reproduced the same subjects, and this time we are disaggregating the achievement levels between males and females at A, B, C, D, and E. And we can see, for example, at English language, 2.2% of the males are exceptional, while the percentage for female is 3.2. At B, which is cumulative, the males are for 16.4%, while 22.7% are females. And that goes on across and down the table. What the table shows is that the female candidates demonstrated higher achievement levels in English language. This Mama has been the same in even the old curriculum and at all other levels. The females constantly do better than the males in English. And then Christian religious education, which is a good thing, Mama. The females are, I think, a little more religious and kinder than the males. So it's not surprising that their achievement levels here is much better. And then art and design. Again, I think this is an area where female touch is definitely much better than that of the males. In the other subjects, history and political education, geography, mathematics, agriculture, chemistry, and biology, the proportions of females in the exceptional and outstanding levels are lower than that of the females. But interestingly, Mama, when you look at the column E, those that are elementary, you will see that the percentage of females that are elementary are lower. All along, from English, where they are only 2.6 compared to 4.7. In Christian religious education, 0.5 compared to 1.1, and so on. They are lower than the males all along. Mama, the achievements of special groups is also reported. Our prison inmates at Luzira, 28 candidates were registered and 1 candidate was absent, and all these 27 candidates, Mama, qualified for the award of the UCE certificate. Similarly, at Mbarara Main Prison's Inmates Secondary School, the 11 candidates who were registered all sat, and all of them also qualified for the award of the UCE certificate. Special needs candidates, their performance is shown in table 4. The achievement levels, we show the special needs type. The results, we are now, this time we are showing those that qualified as result 1, and then those that do not qualify, result 2 and 3, and then those who sat and the total. And the table shows there that 703 or 95.3% of the candidates qualified for the award of this UCE certificate, while that 35 or 4.7% candidates did not qualify. Worth noting here is that all the candidates in the deaf category qualified for the UCE certificate. This is unlike the past, where when they appeared to be very disadvantaged because of their disabilities. We believe the reason for this is that the continuous assessment being part of the final achievement grades, the competencies of the blind can be demonstrated at the school level, and they are assessed and recognized and reported, unlike under the old curriculum where all we depended on was the end of cycle examination. Section 6, Mama, I report on feedback from candidates. UNEB conducted a survey with the first cohort of candidates to find out their perceptions of the examination papers that they had just sat. The intention of this feedback was to gain some information from the candidates that may inform our future improvements. This being the first cohort, the first examination, there are areas definitely that may have to be looked at, and this was the reason why we wanted to find out from the candidates who had just done the examination what is it that they felt about the papers. A total of 50,631 candidates drawn from all the districts took part in this survey. Of these, 25,716 or 50.1% were males, while the other 49.2% were females. The candidates gave on the 53 examination papers. They completed a brief questionnaire shortly after completing the exam papers. The key quality aspects of the examination papers and their responses are summarized in Table 5. These key quality aspects were whether they thought the examination items were from the syllabus that they had covered, whether they felt that the time that was allocated to them was adequate, whether they found the items were clear to understand, and what their overall view of the examination papers were. So, Mama, the results indicate that 94.6% of our candidates found that the items they went through were from the syllabus that they had covered. Only 4.1% did not agree, and 1.3% did not offer any opinion. 67.4% of the candidates indicated that they had enough time, while 30.8% thought that the time allocated to them was not enough. 1.8% did not respond. 83.2% found the items clear, while 15.5% thought they did not understand the items very well. In their response to the overall view of the examination papers, Mama, 5% said the exams were very easy. 60.1% said the exams were fair. 31.9% found the examination difficult, and 3% did not respond. Mama, it should be noted that UNEB developed and administered pre-test papers as part of its preparations to assess candidates under the competency-based curriculum, which papers were scored and analyzed to arrive at those key quality findings. The final paper formats used in the end of cycle were based on the results of the pre-tests. The results of the survey, whereas it is not very surprising given the challenges that schools faced, but overall they indicate to a very good extent that great strides of implementation of the competency-based curriculum assessment was achieved. Examination malpractice, Section 7. Mama, there has been a very welcome reduction in the cases of malpractice. There are 64 cases with a total of 984 candidates who are suspected This compares to nearly 3,000 in the previous curriculum. The nature of the items in the papers do not seem to lend themselves very easily to malpractice. However, the cases that are reported are mostly in the science practical papers, with physics being most affected. Of the cases that were reported, 883 or 93.1% are in the sciences, and only a small percentage in the rest of the other subjects. In these science cases, there is overwhelming evidence that candidates were given experimental results that teachers had done and they were merely copying, and the work that they were showing in their papers did not relate to the results that they themselves had recorded. Our gratitude, Mama. Mama, in Romans chapter 8, verse 13, the scripture says, in view of all this, what can we say? If God is for us, who can be against us? Indeed, Mama, when all is said and done, we acknowledge that God has been for us in this journey to deliver the ultimate product in the implementation of the new curriculum. By His providence and unfailing faithfulness, whatever obstacles were against us were overcome. Whatever weapon formed against us did not prosper, as Isaiah 54:17 says. Mama, you prayed for us and you supported us all the time. We are grateful. I thank the chairperson, Professor Celestino Bwa, and members of the board for the prompt decisions that they make on matters that we refer to them as management, and the guidance that we get. I'm very grateful, Mama, to our colleagues at the National Curriculum Development Center and the Directorate of Education Standards for their cooperation and the support that they rendered in these efforts. I applaud and praise my technical team at UNEB for the meticulous work leading to the advent of the first cohort of UCE results under this curriculum. Mama, for the last 2 years, they have given everything, time, intellect, innovation, and energy to ensure the success of this curriculum. We weathered all sorts of inquiries from all corners, concerns from anxious members of the public and our schools, and doubting Thomases wondering whether this examination will ever see the light of day. Mama, here we are. At some point, we were like the cook in the kitchen, where the diners, everybody is looking in to ask, what kind of food is coming out of this kitchen? Is there enough salt? Is there matoke and ugali and all that? But we have served. And I think, Mama, what we have brought is a buffet where there is something in it for everyone. I'm grateful to the chairperson and members of the Committee on Education and Sports, represented here, Mama, by Honorable James Kubeketeria, the chair, Jane Okoremo, Honorable, and Honorable Nathan Itungu, who are here. They have done their best, Mama, to support the board in its quest for the appropriate funding in order to effectively deliver this curriculum and also deliver in its mandate. I'm grateful to the security agencies which assisted the board during the monitoring of the field conduct of the exam, the area supervisors, heads of examination centers, scouts, invigilators. All these did a great job during the conduct of the examination as required by the stipulated board regulations. Mama, I'm grateful to the scorers who handled the candidate scripts and completed in time apart from those other hitches that we have talked about, in order for other processes to take place, culminating in the release of the results. I also thank the heads of schools that allowed us to use their premises as marking centers. Finally, Mama, I congratulate all the candidates who have qualified for the UCE certificate, the teachers who guided their learning, and the parents and the guardians who provided for and supported them. Collection of results. As I said, for the transitional examination, these results are going to be loaded on the portals and schools can download them, and anyone who is interested can use the SMS service. Mama, we have issued 2 results. The index numbers for the transition exam, if a person wants to access results for the transition exam, the index number has to have the letter T at the end. For example, you'd put in U000 whatever stroke 001T. If you do not put the T, it will not give you the results that you'd want. I also urge the examination centers to send us any queries on the results within a period of 21 working days so that we can attend to. In conclusion, Mama, I pray that God blesses His Excellency the President as he leads and guides this nation towards prosperity. And Mama, may God bless you as you support His Excellency the President and as you guide the Ministry of Education and Sports. May God bless the Uganda National Examinations Board. May God bless our Parliament, and may God bless our motherland, Uganda. Mama, thank you very much for your kind attention.
Yours faithfully.
I'm yours faithfully. We have prepared a small brochure, a fact sheet, which explains quite a bit in very, very good summary about the assessment of the competency-based curriculum. I think all the members who are here will have a copy and will make this available to the public. Thank you very much, Mama.
A big round of applause to UNEB, and a very big one to Mama, our team leader,
and the rock on which we all
anchor ourselves.
Thank you very much for
Thank you very much for leading this sector very well. Apoyo Matek, Won Rudy, Apoyo Matek, Min Rudy, UNEB. Precisely, I'm saying thank you very much, Nalongo, thank you very much, Salongo, UNEB. At this moment in time, I would like to request the chairperson and the ED UNEB, accompanied by the ministers, the PS, and the honorable members of parliament, to present the results book to Mama. Asante sana. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. May I have the honor of inviting Dr. Jesse Muyingo, the Minister of State for Higher Education, to give some brief remarks, and thereafter invite Mama to address the nation and officially release the results.
Thank you very much, David. Mama, our team leader, the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, my colleagues, the Honorable Ministers of State for Education and Sports, the Honorable Chairperson and the members of the Education and Sports Committee of Parliament, the Permanent Secretary and the staff of the Ministry, the Executive Director and the staff of the Ghana National Examination Board, the Executive Director, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Mama, today we are here for yet another exciting moment where we are making history in our quest to provide quality education. The release of the results of the first cohort of candidates who sat examinations under the new lower secondary school curriculum is one of the best things that has happened this year. Mama, when you rolled out this curriculum in 2020, there was a lot of uncertainty and many people wondered how it would be managed and assessed. But with God it is done. And today we celebrate a great achievement of a new curriculum successfully implemented and assessed. I am thrilled to report that the implementation of this curriculum has created a paradigm shift in the way our learners are guided through school. There has been a complete change from a content-based curriculum to one that enables our learners to acquire not the ability to recall facts as it has been, but to have competences that enable them to be creative and solve problems in real life. Mama, I thank you for your vision and strong leadership that has enabled us as a sector to come this far. Despite the initial challenges that affected the rollout of the new lower secondary curriculum, such as COVID-19 pandemic, you remained steadfast. And indeed, we are here to reap the fruits of your determination to change the status quo and lead to a transformation. I want to thank the National Curriculum Development Center for the great work they did to ensure the curriculum was possible to implement and assess. Curriculum Development Center, thank you so much for the innovative ways you employed to ensure as many teachers as possible are trained to implement the curriculum, and we remain ever grateful for the sacrifices you made to ensure we are all successful. This is now the new breed of learners with the skills we have been yearning for. I thank UNEB for the corresponding innovations in assessment, and we cannot get tired of recognizing the excellency with which UNEB does its work. UNEB, thank you so much. We are grateful to the board for being very professional in whatever you do, and for always doing well what they are supposed to do. We thank you, Chairperson, Executive Director, and your team for a job well done. Thank you very much once again. And a hand clap for UNEB with a special way, really. This has not been very easy. Another hand clap for the Ministry of Education and Sport. Our permanent secretary and her technical team, congratulations and thank you very much. My colleagues, the ministers of state, I know you have been pushing from different angles. You've been monitoring, supervising. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Mama, with your permission, it's now my honor to invite you to address the nation and release the UCE examination results for 2024, where the whole country has been eagerly waiting for. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you, Honorable Miengo. Please sit down. My colleagues, Honorable Ministers of State, present here or today, the Chairperson and members of the Education and Sports Committee of Parliament, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Sports, and your team, the Chairperson and members of the Board, the Executive Director, UNEB, and your team, the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I must thank God so much today for this day that He has made. We have every reason to rejoice and be glad in it, as UNEB presents to us yet again results of 2 examinations done concurrently. I really thank the Chairperson and the Board of UNEB, the Executive Director and his team at the UNEB Secretariat for a very good job done. Yes, please give them a very loud clap. I recall that last year I released the UCE examination results on the 15th of February 2024. This time we are ready to release today on the 11th of February 2025. That we are a few days earlier must have meant a lot of dedication and hard work. I say again, thank you, UNEB, so much. Now, talking about hard work, it was reassuring to hear that even in this time of hectic business of developing the structures and processes for managing the continuous assessment and end-of-cycle examination under the new lower secondary curriculum, UNEB was also working on attaining of certification from the International Organization for Standardization, as you heard the chair of UNEB explain to us, for ISO 9001-2015 standard for quality management system. This should give further assurance to the public that UNEB is committed to observance of quality processes in executing its mandate. Yes, as we release the results for 2024 UCE candidates, we have candidates that sat examination of the new lower secondary curriculum, and the last cohort, as you heard, of candidates who sat UCE under the old lower secondary curriculum. That was a lot of work in this past year. The latter are the learners who had missed the 2023 UCE examination for various reasons, or those who had not made it and wanted to repeat the examination. This opportunity was provided, as you heard my colleagues explain. It was provided so that such learners were not disadvantaged. I am glad that as a ministry, we thought through this, and UNEB presented a proposal for a one-off UCE examination in 2024 for learners who had been using the previous lower secondary curriculum. So we thank God that we have the results to release today for the last UCE examination of the old lower secondary curriculum. As you heard, ask the selection committee now to ensure that the 2024 cohort of candidates who took the UCE examination under the old curriculum and qualify for post-UCE placement, that they will not be left out, by God's grace. For those learners who yet again did not avail themselves this last opportunity at UCE examination under the previous lower secondary curriculum, I encourage them to look out for other opportunities of progression in education and training through the vocational pathway. You do not have to drop out of formal education at all. You can try again through this other pathway. So we praise God in a special way now that we are finally releasing the results of the first cohort of candidates under the new lower secondary curriculum. As I said earlier, this curriculum was rolled out in 2020. As you all know, the start was not smooth, as occasioned among other disruptions by COVID-19 pandemic. Indeed, many people thought that this curriculum was something that government would soon drop. This perhaps explains why we kept getting reports that many schools were stuck in teaching the old curriculum. However, we remained steadfast in implementing the new lower secondary curriculum despite those hiccups, because the curriculum was designed to develop competencies in all the areas of learning. It was the best for our country and our plans for the future, using the head, the hands, and the heart. Learners who have gone through this curriculum have the ability for self-learning, as you heard from all the colleagues who spoke before me. I'm glad to hear from the Executive Director, UNEB, that, for instance, in science practical work, candidates use a scenario and materials provided and plan their own investigations using the science process skills. The assessment tasks are geared towards solving problems in the real world. These are the citizens the country needs to be coming out of our education system now. They will contribute greatly to the realization of our national vision, which focuses on transformation from peasantry to modern and prosperous Uganda. To effectively assess competence-based learning, achievement of the learners was assessed at school level, and the continuous assessment scores, which now form part of the overall learners' UCE examination grade. This has reduced the impact of just a one-shot end of cycle examination. Combination of continuous assessment and end of cycle scores gives a holistic picture of the learner's achievement. We have seen it in the Executive Director's report, exemplified by the deaf candidates whose performance has significantly improved. I call on the professionalism of the teachers to ensure the integrity of the continuous assessment scores submitted to UNEB. This is very important because that's how we get the whole learning of any one of the students of the work they do throughout the year. Validity and reliability must be observed in generating these continuous assessment scores so that they reflect the true levels of achievement by the learner. I ask UNEB, within the resources available, to institute a robust training, monitoring, and evaluation system to ensure that schools comply with the guidelines issued on continuous assessment and project work assessment. I thank the National Curriculum Development Center for the hard work in putting the new lower secondary competence-based curriculum in place. I also want to thank the parents that provided input from a parent's perspective during the review of the final draft of the new lower secondary curriculum. Maybe we don't thank the parents enough, but we must remember that they also have a role and we don't forget to thank them. I call on the country to accept this change, which is for the better. I know that we have for a long time been used to aggregates and divisions, as you heard Mr. Odong say, leading to ranking of schools. This was always a source of very unethical practice by many schools to survive in the unhealthy competitions that had developed. Therefore, I'm happy to see that the NCDC and UNEB have now come up with a new approach that eliminates ranking candidates by divisions attained. Relatedly, I have also learned that the Office of Personal Data Protection has drawn UNEB to the provisions within the Data Protection and Privacy Act, Cap 97, that prohibits the publication of personal data of children. As such, UNEB has been informed by the Personal Data Protection Office, in quotes, that publicly disclosing the names, photographs, and individual grades of learners on boards or other publicly accessible platforms exposes such learners to harassment, stigma, and emotional distress. Accordingly, schools are advised now to use alternative methods of sharing examination outcomes without compromising student privacy by way of disclosing personal learner information or data. Therefore, I now task UNEB and all the other examination and assessment agencies under the Ministry of Education and Sports, together with the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education and Sports, to liaise with the Data Protection and Privacy Office for further appreciation of this guidance on how to fully comply with the Data Protection and Privacy Act and its regulations in the management of assessment and examination results. Thereafter, the Permanent Secretary shall formally communicate to all education institutions of learning by way of a circular on how to always ensure privacy of individual learners' results. For now, in keeping with the Data Protection and Privacy Act, Cap 97, and its regulations, schools and institutions of learning should desist from all forms of public display of individual learner academic results. That said, I must send hearty congratulations to our learners who have had their places sealed in history as the first cohort to sit for the UCE examinations under the new lower secondary curriculum. That is competence-based and have qualified for the award of the certificate. I thank the teachers who guided them through the learner-centered teaching approach which this curriculum requires. I thank the parents again and guardians who supported the learners, especially in the project work. And once again, I thank UNEB board, secretariat, and all the people who participated in the assessment and scoring process of the 2024 USE examination. Lastly, I wish to inform all schools and the general public that the selection dates for the Senior 5 class of 2025 are the 20th to 21st Feb 2025. The first term reporting date for the Senior 5 class of 2025 is Monday, the 3rd March 2025. It is now my singular honor to release the 2024 USE results for both the last cohort of examinations under the previous lower secondary curriculum and the pioneer class under the new lower secondary curriculum. I thank you and God bless you. Thank you, Ministry of Education, UNEB, committee in Parliament, everybody related to this work. I thank you and God bless you.
Mama, with your permission, may I request that we resume our seats for a few minutes to receive a summary of your address in Uganda. And due to popular demand, I've been requested not to change the winning team. May I now invite Dr. Mugenyi to come and give the summary.
Neyanziza nnyo maama kumpeereza omukisa guno kubanga njogerako eri eggwanga nga mbannyonnyola ebivudde mu bibuuzo eby'essiniya ey'okuna ey'omwaka guno. Mu sipiiki ya maama yeebazizza Katonda olw'olunaku luno lwafulumizaako ebibuuzo eby'essiniya y'okuna, n'ayeebaza ekitongole kya UNEB naddala executive director ne ttiimu ye. Ategeezezza eggwanga nti mwaka oguwedde ebibuuzo bya siniya y'okuna byafuluma nga 15 Februari, naye mwaka guno bifulumye nga 11 Februari 2025, ekitegeeza nti UNEB ekoze bulungi okulaba nti ebibuuzo bifuluma mu budde. UNEB weebale nnyo, weebalire ddala. Ategeezezza eggwanga nti ekitongole kya UNEB kigezaako okulaba nti ebibuuzo bino bituukana n'omutindo si gwa Uganda yokka nayo ogw'ensi yonna. Mu mwaka guno tukoze ebibuuzo emirundi 2. Abaana abataayita obulungi n'abo bataasobola okukola ebibuuzo by'omwaka gw'2023 baaweebwa omukisa okubiddamu, ate ne kalikulamu empya eyatongozebwa omwaka gw'2022 nabo ne batuula ebibuuzo. musanyufu okulaba nti abaana bonna baweebwa omukisa era basobodde okutuula ebibuuzo bino. N'asaba akakiiko selection committee okulaba nti abaana bonna abaatuula ebibuuzo ebya transition exams n'abaatudde ebya new lower competency-based curriculum waweebwa omukisa okulaba nti beeyongerayo mu misomo gyabwe. Awadde amagezi nti abo abatasobodde okukola obulungi abadde mu bibuuzo by'omwaka gw'2023 banoonye emikisa emirala gavumenti yateekako okulaba nti beeyongerayo mu kusoma nga mu masomo g'ebyemikono n'ebirala ebiri mu ggwanga lino. Akinoganyiza nti kalikulamu eno empya yafulumizza ebibuuzo ebisoose yafunamu ebizibu. Twalina ekizibu kya COVID-19 era abantu abamu ne balowooza nti kalikulamu weewaawo eyinza obutakola bulungi. Naye akinoganyiza nti kalikulamu eno empya kyekintu ekirungi ekisoose okufunibwa nnyo mu ggwanga lino kubanga kiyamba nnyo abayizi okulaba nti beeyambisa emitwe gyabwe, emitima gyabwe n'emikono gyabwe, ekibayamba nti nabo bokka bayinza okweyamba ne basobola okusoma bulungi. Ate mu pulojekiti naddala eza science bafuna omukisa okulaba nti amagezi ge basomye mu bitabo n'omu bibiina bagateeka mu nkola. Enkola eno era ye gavumenti yeeteese nnyo essira okulaba nti bwe tuba nga tukulembeza okusoma kwa science kijja kuyamba eggwanga lino okuva mu bwavu lifuuke eggwanga eryeyagaza ate ery'omulembe. Yategezezza eggwanga nti UNEB yakyusa engeri gyekolamu assessment kubanga abasomesa bebasomesa abaana ne baweereza makisi ate ne be UNEB byeweereza abaana end of cycle exams byonna bigaatibwa wamu ne tufuna ekifaananyi ekirungi okulaba biki omwana byayize mu bibiina okuva mu senior 1 okutuuka ku yokuna ate na bino byakoze nga amaliriza omwaka ogwokuna ne babigatta wamu n'olwekyo n'ofuna ekifaananyi ekirungi ekiraga okusoma kw'omwana n'obukugu bwe. Tutegeezezza nti kino kiyambye nnyo naddala abaana abafuba amaaso okulaba nti mu bibuuzo by'omwaka guno bakoze bulungi. Asabye abasomesa okulaga obukugu nga bagolola abaana nga baweereza makisi kirage nti obukugu bwabwe n'okumanya kwabwe bukulu nnyo mu mulimu gwabwe Mukama gwe yabawa okukola. Asabye amasomero gonna okulaba nti gagoberera guidelines eza UNEB zeeweereza nga bagolola abaana naddala mu bibiina ekibayita continuous assessment. Yeebazizza nnyo abazadde olw'ebirowoozo byabwe baateekayo nga tukyusa curriculum okulaba n'okutegeera nti kati abaana engeri gye basomamu yakyuse. Titukyayogera ku abayise mu grade esooka, ey'okubiri, ey'okusatu n'abaagudde, kaakati twogerera mu lulimi lw'obukugu bwabwe. Awabudde UNEB n'awabula n'amasomero gonna nti waliwo etteeka epya Data Protection and Privacy Act eritakkiriza okulaga ekifaananyi ky'omwana n'obubonero bw'aba afunye mu bigezo bino kubanga ekyo kityoboola eddembe lye. N'asaba omuwandiisi w'enkalakkalira owa Ministry y'enjigiriza n'emizannyo nti mu budde obutali bwawala ajja kuba afulumya sacola esobole okutegeeza eggwanga lino engeri entuufu gye balinamu okukola ebintu bino. Musanyufu nnyo okulaba nti abaana abakoze ebibuuzo ebya lower secondary school curriculum empya kakati bafunye ekifo mu byafaayo by'eggwanga lino nti bye basoose okutuula ebibuuzo bino ebipya mu curriculum empya. Ng'amaliriza yeebazizza nnyo bonna abakoze okulaba nti ebibuuzo bino bifuluma bulungi, naddala abasomesa, naddala nnyo mu kintu kya project work abateekamu obudde n'amagezi, abazadde, UNEB, Ministry n'ebitongole byonna eby'eddembe. Ategeezezza eggwanga nti okulonda abaana abagenda kweyongerayo misomo gyabwe kujja kubeerayo 2021 omwezi gwa February, ate taamu esooka ey'abaana ba senior y'okutaano ejja kutandika nga 3 March. Mwebale nnyo bassebo ne bannyabo, Mukama abawe omukisa.
I think we all agree he has done a very good job. You, Miss Dr. Mugenyi, you earn yourself a D. Okay. They have said you've done a good job and you earn yourself an A. May we all rise up for the anthems. Two announcements. We shall have one photo of Mama and the media team. It's a special request from the media team. And thereafter, we shall have a press conference in the waiting room. So I will request the UNEB team, the PS, the Commissioner Government Secondary, I don't know whether the Commissioner Human Resources is around, and the Commissioner Planning. We shall request them to attend the press conference.
Kale, tukwaniriza era tukulisaayo enakasero ku State Lodge ku mukolo ogwa gwe tubadde tulindiridde obwedda ogw'okututegeeza ku biki ebyavudde mu bigezo ebyatuulibwa abayizi abasini eyokuna mu mwaka ogwedde ogwa 2024. Enteekateeka zirabika okuba nga zikomeekerezeddwa nga minisita w'ebyenjigiriza n'ebyemizannyo Honorable Janet Kata Museveni amaze okutegeeza eggwanga n'okutuwa ebivudde mu bigezo. Tujja kubanga okusinziira wano mu studios nga tumenyamenya mu biki ebifulumidde mu bigezo era tukuwe n'endowooza zaffe ku nteekateeka yonna nga bwetambudde. Amannya gange nze Principal, tusooka n'okuyozaayoza abayizi abaatuula ebigezo bya siniya eyokuna omwaka ogwedde. Weewaawo ebigezo bifulumye nga biraga nti ogutundutundu ogunene gwakoze bulungi tujukire nti nga bwe twayogedde mu ntandikwa ensengeka ensomesa kwotadde n'ebisomesebwa byakyukamuko era kijja kubanga kizibu nnyo okugeraageranya ebifulumidde mu bigezo n'ebyo ebyafuluma omwaka ogwa 2023 naye ku mulundi guno enteekateeka ebadde ya njawulo nti ebifulumidde mu bigezo bibadde bya mirundi ebiri. Ebisooka bibadde bye bayise transitional exams, bino be bayizi abaafikira ku mulundi guli mu bigezo ebya 2023 abamu ku abo be bataasobola kutuula bigezo naye nga baali beewandiisiza, then abalala beebo abaagwa ebigezo 3. Tujjukire bulungi nti minisita yabawa omukisa okuddamu okuteeketeekebwa mu mwaka guno nga transition egenda maaso ey'okuva mu old curriculum okujja mu curriculum empya era tujja kuba tukuwa ebigezo eby'emirundi ebiri nga twogera ku transitional exam results era nga twogera ne ku results ezivudde mu curriculum empya gye bayise competent-based curriculum. Moses Kajangu gwendi naye mu studios nja kusaba asooke awe comment ku ntambula n'enteekateeka yonna nga bwetambudde then tugende butereevu mu bifulumidde mu bigezo. Moses baako kyoyogera ku nteekateeka nga bw'ogirabye.
Okay, weebale nnyo Apollo. Nange njagala kwebaza abayizi ba senior 4 okulaba nti ebibuuzo byabwe bikomyewo era nange ndi musanyufu okulaba nti abaana bakoze obulungi Apollo. Though tujja kugezaako okunyonyola new curriculum eno naye okutwalizaamu abaana abasinga bagenda kufuna certificate ate bw'oba ofunye certificate kijja kuba kikuwa omukisa okulaba nti osobola kugenda ku ddaala eriddako era ebyafaayo engeri bw'obyogedde olwaleero bikoleddwa tufunye results ez'emirundi ebiri transition examination then under the competence-based curriculum empya era olwaleero Apollo we are saying bye to the old curriculum era ekyo kiweddeko transition eweddeko era tulabye almost abaana 8 ku 100 mu transition eno examination abaana abatakola ebibuuzo omwaka guli ogwa 23 n'abo abaagwa era tulabye nti abaana ebitundu 8 ku 100 already baayise. Almost baayise ate bagenda n'okufuna certificate. Ekyo kirungi nnyo, tulina kwebaza abasomesa abasomesa era ne government okutwaliza wa Ministry of Education okulaba nti yabawa ebeeto okulaba nti bagenda mu maaso n'okukola ebibuuzo bino.
Kale Moses Kajangu tulabye Honorable Minister Janet Katamu Museveni nga yeebaza abadde mu nteekateeka eno yennyini okusingira ddala ayogedde ku yeebaziza aba National Curriculum Development Center be bamu ku abo abaawuma omutwe mu nteekateeka eno yonna ey'okukyusa ebyenjigiriza by'eggwanga Uganda mwe muli ebisomesebwa ensengeka y'abayizi n'ebirala byonna. Tulabye wekitiibwa minisita nga yeebaza akakiiko k'ebyebigezo mu ggwanga okutwaliza awamu abali mu education system yonna muli abasomesa bannannyini masomero bonna abakwasaganya enteekateeka eno naye atulaba n'atuwuliriza tujja kusooka tukutuuseeko ebyavudde mu bigezo ebya transitional exams. Moses Kajangu batulaze nti abayizi abawandiisa baali 3,35
okutwaliza aba transition
aba transitional
omutwalo gumu mu 141
yes omutwalo gumu mu 141 be beewandiisa kwabo kwaliko abawala be baali abangi ko bitundu nga 52 n'akatundutundu kamu mpoza ate abalenzi be baali abatono. Performance okusinziira ku butya bwe bakoze batulaze nti abayizi 8 bokka be bayitira mu ddaala erisooka. Abayizi 8 bokka be bayitira mu ddaala erisooka oba division 1. Division 2 baali bayizi 503 503 bwe bitundu 5 ye 5.2%. Abayizi omuwendo omunene gwe gwayitira mu division eyokusatu n'eyokuna baali 5,820. Mu bigezo bino ebya transitional Moses Kajangu kituteeka okwogerako kyekyabayizi abaagwa abataayita be basinga obungi baali ebitundu 16.7 16.7 eyabayizi bonna abaatuula ebigezo abeewandiisa baagwa be bayizi 1,629. Kino ndowooza owekitiibwa minisita kyayogeddeko kyakomekereza mu speech ye ng'agamba nti bano ndowooza banoonye bye basobola okukola mu nteekateeka ya gavumenti ey'ebyemikono bayitireeyo mpozi oba oliawo bayambibwe naye it was not a good result. Ku bayizi bano jjukira nti bano baagwa luli bataayita mu ziri exams za 2023 kati ate ogutundu ogunene gwazeemu ne gutakola ki ne gutayita. I think it is a matter of concern. Bateeka okuba nga bayambibwa gye balaga eyo bagende babeeko bye bakola kuba tebagenda kweyongerayo.
Apollo, there is a saying mu Luganda oba no mu Burundi bwaffe bagamba nti omwana bw'agwa omulundi gumu you say sorry. Kati bw'adamu n'agwa ogwokubiri okimanya ekiddako. N'olwekyo kati bakuwadde chance oso ruli wabigwa second time wabigudde so kati awo olina kubiviirako ddala notola okuviirako ddala first lady abagambye nti bagenda kugenda mu institutions endala eza wansi okulaba nga basomesa abaana bano kyaffe ebyemikono okulaba nga bagenda mu maaso esuubiri kyaliyo esuubiri weddeyo bano abaana bajja kugenda kubanga waliwo kino ekitongole ekya gavumenti
waliwo ne TVET
kati abo abakyagenda mu maaso mubadde mulaba abaana abataasomako yadde babadde bafuna ne certificates especially mu kyalaanyi abakolera ku byalaanyi abatunga engoye n'ebintu ebirala ebyo basobola kubikola okutwaliza bamuga nti oba ogudde kati kitegeeza nti esuubiri weddeyo bajja kugenda mu maaso kubanga bakola ebintu ebyengalo ebyo okulaba nga bigenda mu maaso.
Kale twabadde tubabategezezzaako nti curriculum empya yo egatta bingi era owekitiibwa minisita kyogeddeko nti curriculum eno ejja kuyamba eggwanga okweyongera okufuna abantu ab'omugaso olw'okuba nti new curriculum gye bayise competency-based curriculum egezesa abayizi okuviira ddala eri wansi ebitundu 20 ku byebikola byebigenda nga birikodingibwa okuva mu kugesezebwa okwo gye bayise continuous assessment then ebitundu 80 ku 100 byebikola final result eva mu final exam. Mu nteekateeka eno batugambye nti nga bwe twayogedde enteekateeka eno okuva lwe yajja baafunamu okusoomozebwa okw'enjawulo ne batutegeeza nti balina okuteekateeka ebintu ebiwerako okulabika nti eno new curriculum esobola okubeera implemented. Batugambye nti waliwo okuteekateeka tools ne guidelines ebyo ebiyamba enkola okugenda mu maaso ebikozesebwa mwalimu okutraininga abasomesa batugamba balina okutraininga aba examiners abagolola ebigezo enteekateeka eyo nti bafunamu okusomoozebwa naye ku nkomerero bamaliriza nga ekintu kitambudde bulungi. Okusinziira ku grading system kuba n'ensengeka ey'abayizi mu bigezo nayo yakyuse ku mulundi guno nga bwe tulaba ku screen. Grade ziri M235 kati ku mulundi guno tulina grade A, grade B, tulina grade C, tulina grade D, then ne grade F. F be babeera nga tebayise. Twewala nnyo ekigambo eky'okugwa abo bebeera bayise be babeera tebayise. Ate bwe tugenda wali ku scores twogera ku score 1 to 3 ye grade A. Then grade
in fact,
B,
Apollo grade A eyitibwa bagise exception. It's an exception. Bobo scoring A. Then grade B is an outstanding. Bagise outstanding. Then C is satisfactory.
yes.
Then D is basic. Then E is elementary. Then there's Dakao. Kulabanga ngeri UNEB
Yes.
yesterday.
Yes. Tulaba mu grade A tuba tutunulira points kati ensengeka ya points
Apollo tetukyalina biri manya asquarinze AAA asquarinze 2416 or something like that kati ebyo tulina abantu okubasomesa kati okutandika kati okubasomesa okutegeera results zino omwana ajja kulaba nga afunye wali n'agamba kati bino exception byebiki
no ekivuddeko kati Kajangu Moses kyekya mfunye 70 mfunye 80 teziba tezireflectinga wali mu results zo ekireflectinga ze points ze wafunye then ze zikuwa grade points abeera afunye points 18 kutuuka ku points 20 oyo aba afunye A
ekyo n'okiteeka kyesira nnyo
yes then points 14 kutuuka ku points 17 aba afunye grade B points 10 okutuuka ku points 13 oba ofunye grade C then points 6 okutuuka ku points 9 oba ofunye grade D then oyo atafunyeeyo kabonero n'afunye kamu bubiri busatu okutuuka ku 5 oyo ebeera grade F oyo oba oliawo abeera teyayise so enteekateeka bweto bweri divisions zo nga bw'oyogedde zo zirinnya emu of course yesooka then esembayo yeyokuna yeya waggulu highest yesooka ye division 1 mpozi ate nga bw'oyogedde grade A ebeera exceptional oyo abeera akoze bulungi nga si wa bulijjo nga si wa bulijjo then grade B abeera alaze omutindo kyekiri choice outstanding high level of competencies muri creativity in knowledge and skills eyo grade B then grade C satisfactory omutindo guba gwegwe ogumatiza nenga sigwe guli gwenyini gosobola okwogerako satisfactory grade C then grade D ebeera basic eyo result ebeera ya bulijjo grade ebeera ya bulijjo basic abeera tagudde nenga ebeera ya bulijjo naye grade E ye elementary ebeera below the basic level of competence oyo abeera omutindo gwa wansi gubeera mutindo nga gwa wansi mpozi kyebasinze okunokolayo mu nteekateeka eno bagambye nti mu nsengeka eno empya bino byonna grade zetwogerako okuva ku grade A okutuuka ku grade E kiba kijjayo application of acquired knowledge and skills in real life situation kitegeeza Moses Kajangu nti abayizi bano kati babagezesa okulaba bye bayize n'obukugu bwe bafunye basobola batya okubukozesa mu bulamu buno obwa bulijjo okitegedde Moses ekivaayo kati mu nsengeka eno nti omuyizi mu kumugradinga waliwo kyenjagadde nnyo ekya project work nti
okusinga okutwaliza mu Apple ebintu bino ebadde ebisinga gundi new curriculum ebadde practical most of the time ebadde practical that's why nga UNEB executive secretary abadde emphasizing nnyo nti baalaga practicals
yes
ezibaali bakola era ne exercises ezibawaayo okulaba nti ebibaali bakola babitegeera naye Apollo nga tunagenda mu explanation eryawo waliwo executive secretary Odongo bwagambye nti waliwo amasomero agamu especially mu rural areas abagenda mu maaso baali bakyasomesa old curriculum which is very dangerous ate no ekiviiriddeko n'abaana abamu especially mu rural areas obutakola obulungi kubanga baali bamanyi nti katugende mu maaso oba kino ebipya bagenda kubijjako kati bagenze kwesanga nti bwe baawa assessment eyasooka especially papers just revision papers bajja kwesanga nti abaana abamu tebakola obulungi era nga balaba papers for the first time abamu bagiraba mu exam pepe yasooka okulaba nti this is how it is set n'abasomesa abasinga baali tebabitegeera bulungi so ekyo it's a challenge era agambye nti training eyagalibwa nnyo okulaba nga new curriculum eno baddamu okugisomesa n'okufuna abakugu abagisomesa abasomesa okulaba nti tujjayo ekirungi omwaka oguno ogutulimu
yes that is correct kituufu nnyo ebadde emu kweza ensonga oba oliawo n'okuddwayo ng'ebadde challenge oba okusomozebwa okubaddewo nti abasomesa abamu balemerayo mu curriculum enkadde bo nga balowooza nti curriculum eno empya gavumenti ejja kutuuka ekiseera egiveeko ate ne bamaliriza oba oliawo nga bakotogedde abayizi mu nteekateeka yennyini Moses Kajangu mbadde gyala tugende butereevu ku bivudde mu bigezo okuba nti kye kisinze okubanga kye kyatulese wano. Ebyavudde mu bigezo eby'abayizi aba senior 4 omwaka 2024 okutwaliza wamu, abayizi abaatuula baali 35,000 si kyekyo? Yes. Mu 146 era ebyavuddeyo biraga nti ebitundutundu 98 n'obutundu 5 ye 98.05% kwaba baatuula bonna bagenda kufuna certificate.
Ekyo kirungi era tulina kutola twabeebaziza tibakoze obulungi abaana bagenda kusinga percentage ennene bagenda kufuna certificate.
Era mu nsengeka eno empya bagamba nti minimum qualification ey'okufuna certificate ye E. Kasita oba ng'ofunye E ne bw'oba ogifunye E mu gundi zonna,
that's elementary
oba ogenda kufuna certificate. Era certificate eno bagambye nti result slip ejja kubanga eriko 1 eri marked with 1. Then bwe tugenda okulaba nga bwe byatambudde, abayizi abafunye result ku certificate nga kuliko 2 and 3, tugambye nti bali abafunye certificate wajja kubaako 1. Result ya 2 and 3 enebeera ku transcript nga kuliko 2 and 3, bano bo tebagenda kufuna ki? Tebagenda kufuna certificate. Mu nteekateeka eno empya. Twagenze okulaba ebyavudde mu bigezo byalaze nti olulimi Olungereza lwe lwasinze okukuba abayizi. Olulimi Olungereza lwe lwasinze okukuba abayizi, balukoze bubi.
Apollo balukoze bubi naye oba abakyala abantu tugenda kubakolera ki?
Nenga abaana b'obuwala be basinze
bakoze obulungi
Oluzungu wadde. Yes. Ate essomo lye basinze okukola obulungi ye Islamic religious education. Lye basinze okukola obulungi. Naye ng'okutwaliza wamu generally exceptional levels bali be twagambye abafunye ezisinga zabadde mu arts and design, zabadde mu history and political education ne agriculture otadde n'ebibalo mathematics okubala. Omwo mwe basinze okufuna eze zisinga. Era nga boolaba wali ku screen ogenda okulaba nga percentage esinga mu ezo eri 13.0 bw'olaba wansawo ku 13.0 ku ACE ku mutendera ogwa ACE art and design
kirungi
gye basinze okukola obulungi
kubanga eyo it is almost the art and design practical part of it. Bw'oba omwana wamanyi art and design era n'obwava wano ku senior 4 era olina essuubi nti agenda mu maaso.
Bw'ogenda okulaba subject endala gye bakoze obulungi wali yeya history and political education olaba ng'eri mu 6.4%. Twogera ku ku elementary exceptional level egyo basinze okukola obulungi. Then kuteeka geography yeri ku mathematics yeri ku agriculture yeri ku 4.7, tuzaako mathematics ku 3.8 ne geography ku 3.1. Njagala tutunule ku physics, kusoma lya physics
sciences kubanga Apollo government yetadde nnyo essira ku bya science. Naye ndaba nga biology, chemistry, physics. At least agriculture there is some improvement.
Agriculture bagikoze bulungi.
Mu biology ndaba.
Naye bw'otunula bw'otunula ku chemistry eri ku 1.0.
That means that's
eyo yasinze okukola ki? Okubakuba ku mutendera gwa A. Ku grade ya A yasinze okubakuba. Then ne physics yeddakaawo mpozi ne biology yakola ki?
Era n'obwomuvingako Apollo ku B where the outstanding you could still there is some waru improvement entono especially if you at see physics otolaba ebitundu 22 ku na katonda mukaaga olaba there is some improvement. Agriculture tutunule
ku E. Ku E esembayo elementary ogenda okulaba nga physics eri mu 12.8 ate yo gye basinze okugwa abasinga isomo lye basinze okugwa
art and design is very high
art and design tewaliiwo tewali yagudde
kati omwana wo bw'aba ali eyo yakola art and design era you are very sure nti results zigenda kuvayo
naye ate eyo subject eriemu yokka subjects ze bakola ziri 8 ziri 8 ze consideringa so ateeka okubanga n'endala nazo zikoze bulungi naye ku art and design tetulabayo n'omwe yakoze eki
oluzungu 3.6 real elementary kati oluzungu it is the key of everything. Physics still kyagira byekyali 12.9
exactly.
Sciences era
sciences zabakubye nnyo zabakubye nnyo
emphasis eno.
Okay, tuddeyo ku comparison ey'abalenzi n'abawala butya bwe bakoze tebe eyo nayo ndowooza kabagituwe tukola assessment ne analysis ku tebe eyo ey'abalenzi n'abawala twadde tukugambye nti abalenzi yes bwe tutunula ku English language scored yes good ku English language ogenda okulaba nga abaana b'obuwala bali mu 3.2 ku level oba ku A ku A bali ku 3.2 ate abalenzi bali ku 2.2 ekitegeeza nti abawala bakoze bulungi olulimi oluzungu olungereza bw'otunula ku Christian religious education ate abaana b'obulenzi bo bakoze bulungi okusinga abaana b'obuwala. History and political education abalenzi era be basinze abaana b'obuwala tulaba 6.9 versus 5.8 geography era abalenzi be basinze mathematics abalenzi era be basinze agriculture abalenzi era be basinze physics bwe tutunula ku sciences physics ogenda okulanga abalenzi ate bakubye nnyo
bakoze bulungi mu sciences physics
chemistry
still abalenzi
era ne biology abalenzi be basinze ate bwogenda ku art and design ate abaana b'obuwala be basinze abaana
with 13.6 olaba nga art and design bakoze bulungi
kiraga nti abaana b'obulenzi ku sciences berisize enkuli ate ne mu masomo gonna agasinga obungi abalenzi be basinze mpoza ate abaana b'obuwala basinze okukola oluzungu okusinga abaana ab'obulenzi ndowooza awo tusobola okweyongerayo okukola analysis mu nteekateeka nga bwe yabadde katono nnyo bw'otunula ku examiners report ababadde mu nteekateeka y'okugolola ebibuuzo bagambye nti abayizi okutwaliza wamu bafunye obuzibu mu kuinterpretinga scenarios n'okuinterpretinga results okusingira ddala mu practical subject practical assessments
era apola ekyo kiyinza okuba nga kireeteddwa okuba nti abasomesa abasinga baali bakyakozesa old curriculum.
Yes, babadde
so kati okusanga nti mu examination room okutandika n'otandika to compare and the comparison you could find that it is a very big problem here era that's why olanga recommendation wenje bakoze balina ku making sure that badde mu training okola nti basomesa abaana
exactly n'ekirala nakyo kibayogeddeko ba examiners kya olulimi ennimi zinengwira tuba twogera ku luzungu twogera ku swahili kuba nayo ndowooza eri mu curriculum eno nti ennimi ezo engwira nazo abayizi batawanyizibwa vocabulary engeri gye bataputa ebigambo n'okubi applyinga mu language nakyo mbu kyekyasinza obatawaanya mu nteekateeka eyo mpozi Moses ndowooza twogere ku exam malpractice batugambye nti ku mulundi guno okubbira ebigezo kwakendeddemuko cases zakendeddemuko
by'omwaka oguli
cases ezibadde suspected cases ez'aba candidates ziri 984 okucomparinga n'omwaka guli zaali 13
enamba yali nene that's almost be different of about 2000 plus
yes okubbira ebigezo kwasinze nnyo okulabikira mu masomo ga science ate munaye ge gasinze okukola ki ge gasinze obbakuba physics yemu ku masomo agasinze okulabikiramu okubba ebigezo so ndowooza Moses ensonga eno ey'okubba ebigezo simanyi kyetugenda okukola naye efuuse chronic buli kaseera buli lw'ebigezo lwebifuluma owulirayo cases nti zabadde n'ekino kirungi nti ku mulundi guno cases zabadde ku wansi
naye Apollo okutwaliza wamu ojasanga nti especially ng'abaana ebibuuzo ebyali withheld especially bya P7 abaana bakwatibwa ebibuuzo byabwe guli omwaka era ne baddamu ne batuula this time round osanze they have performed very poorly tebalina grade yonna gye bajje especially mu P7 gye bajjeeyo era we are seeing again the same thing it is going to happen in senior 4 because of malpractices babakutte abagamudde mu mukole amasomero ago bw'okola research n'oga following osanga nti they are performing very badly wala because baba batya katukozesa omutwe gwaffe ate abamu bamanyi abayizi abasinga baali bamanyi nti tujja kufuna support from our teachers kibatafuna this time round kati ekyo that is the most dangerous thing kyaba scouts oba bongerako enamba y'aba scouts oba ne security especially police which has been helping UNEB to make sure that they come out with that. See, if you could see that now this is what we are talking about.
Cases
984 compared to 6,000. Kati awo emphasis yes bagezezaako tulina kwebaza security n'aba scouts omulimu gwe bakola this time round naye obubbi bw'ebigezo buli Apple twagala kukoma wano tugambe twabaddeyo okubbira bibuuzo
obubbi bw'ebigezo buli deep nnyo omuze guno guli very deep olw'okuba nti ne ba invigilators abasindikibwa okukwasaganya ensonga y'ebigezo ate be bamu abakola ki be bamu abayinyigira mu muze guno n'osanga nga exam envelopes bazisaze abaana ebigezo babibawa night before the exam nosanga nga abasomesa benyine bebenyigiddemu nga olina yimirira ku lubaawo mu examination room n'atandika okukola ki okukola calculation oba equation mu science n'akola equation ku lubaawo during an examination session olabira ddala nga kiri a bit deep era batutegeeza nti waliwo ebigezo ebyakwatiddwa ku mulundi guno ebitagenda kukola ki okufulumizibwa kuweebwayo eri abayizi oba bazadde so ndowooza ekyo kyakwenyamira kiteeka okuba nga tukola ki tuteeka okuba nga oba olyawo waliwo amagezi agakola ki agasalibwa okulaba nga ensonga eyo ekolebwako batutegeezeza abatuwuliriza nti nga bulijjo osobola okusaba ebigezo by'okuyita ku simu yo nga bulijjo
oba singa batuwaako ne tulaba nga this time kiriko different okusinziira ngeri abaana badde bafunamu ebibuuzo bino singa batuprojectingirako awo instructions to get UC result by SMS awo olaba
you go to the message ogenda ku message editor ku simu yo no typing UCE no typing mwenyukuta ezo noteekamu enyukuta ezo UCE noleka wakabanga then no yongerezaako index number eya candidate nga yonna eweddeyo then nosindika ku mukaaga not
waliwo Apollo kabagambye
ogatati MTN ne Airtel byonna ebyokola ki byokozesa naye kyebogeddeko nti ku transition exam kubanga oli wa transition exams ojja kwongerezaako ennyukuta T awo kisobola okukola ki ndowooza okuba nguyira okukola ki okutuusaako ebivudde mu bigezo ng'oyita ku simu yo mu nteekateeka eyo eya bulijjo bategeezezza nti olusoma lwa taamu esooka
selection
olwa S5 lujja kutandika ennaku z'omwezi 3 omwezi ogwa March omwaka 2025 selection ya naku mwezi
walimu okusunsula abaana era bagenda tandika ennaku z'omwezi 2 mu lumu abaana balyoke batandika ennaku z'omwezi 3
senior 5
abazadde balina kweteekateeka okulaba nti fees
olwaleero ziri 12 no 11 olwaleero 11 ekitegeeza nti okutuuka ku nnaku z'omwezi 3 kuliko awo ennaku nga
20
nga 20 ze week 3 ezisigaddeyo abazadde okweteekateeka okulaba nga batwala abayizi okutandika olusoma olwa senior 1 ndowooza Moses ebisinga tubyogeddeko ebisigaddeyo tujja kubanga tubibawa mu mawulire gaffe Omunyo live ne Omunyo kusatu
ne ku radio wonna ne wamala ku ssaawa emu ku radio ajja kubanga abijjayo bulungi okulanga bibatuusaako
kale tuteeka okwebaza mwena ababadde naffe mu nteekateeka eno yonna gye twatandikidde ne wanoona we twatuuse okulabika nga tukutuusaako ebifulumidde mu bigezo ebya siniya ey'okuna omwaka oguwedde ogwa 2024 tutwala omukisa guno okuyozaayoza neera akakiiko k'ebyebigezo Uganda National Examinations Board tuyozaayoze ababadde mu nteekateeka yonna omuli National Curriculum Development Center be babadde mabega w'enteekateeka eno. Twebaze era tuyozoyoze abasomesa abasobodde okubanga amangu nnyo n'embiro ne ba adoptinga enkola eno ebadde empya curriculum empya ne basobola okubanga basomeseza abayizi baffe ne bananyini masomero mwe n'ababadde mu nteekateeka eno tuteeka okubebaza mu ngeri ey'enjawulo. Ate twebaze ne production team gye tubadde nayo okuviira ddala mu control room. Patrick abaddeyo, Kigoza abaddeyo, Kalema Omulangira abaddeyo, twebaze Solomon Ato abadde naffe, twebaze graphics team ekoze omulimu ogw'ettendo mu nteekateeka eyo, ababadde enakasero ku State Lodge okutuwa ekifaananyi kye tubadde nga tulaba. Moses Kajangu yongerezaako twebaze
era tiimu njagala nakwebaza abakyala babadde mabega wa kamera era abakoze omulimu gw'ettendo olwaleero.
Oprah abaddewo.
Abaddewo. Ne Mr. Matumbwe yasoose.
Ne Martins Matumbwe.
Martins Matumbwe omulimu bakoze ogw'amaanyi nnyo beebalire dda. Apollo nga tetunava wano tolina waliwo recognition global award gye bawadde UNEB okulaba nti eri ku mutindo. That means okufuna that award international award globally nti almost batuuse ku mutindo ogwakabi nnyo bwemba nsobola okwogera bwentyo. Era twebaza ekitongole kyekirecognizinze UNEB okulaba nti kifunye global award. That means bagenze mu maaso n'okugenda nti ebibuuzo byabo ebibabuuza ebya UNEB mulimu omulungi gwe bakola. So neebaza abantu mwenna ababadde wano tujja kudda wano okulaba nti ebibuuzo bya senior 6 era nabyo tujja kuba tukomawo wano okubatuusaako.
Kale ku lwa ttiimu yonna amannya agange nze Prince Apollo nkoze ne Moses Kajangu mu studios tubasiibulidde wano musigale ku Sol TV kuba ebirala ebirungi bijja. Mubeere bulungi, Mukama bakuume, mweraba.